3 days. The screen of the phone remains dark, a black glass slab reflecting nothing but the dim ceiling light. You tap it. Nothing. You swipe, refresh the feed, and stare at the timestamp of the last sent message. It has not moved. The silence in the room is not empty. It is heavy, pressing against your eardrums until you can hear the blood rushing in your own head. You stand up, your legs stiff, and walk to the bathroom. The tiles are cold under your feet. You grip the edges of the sink, knuckles turning white, and force yourself to look into the mirror. The person staring back has eyes that look tired, searching for a familiarity that has vanished. You touch your own face, tracing the line of your jaw, but the connection feels severed. You try to rehearse an apology for a conversation that never happened, moving your lips, but the words die in the air. The phone vibrates on the counter, a phantom sensation. But when you turn, it is still dead. You are waiting for a ghost to speak, unaware that the ghost is you. Stop looking at the reflection in the mirror and start looking at the gears of the machine. This was never a coincidence. This was a system designed to dismantle you piece by piece. At the center of the person you are mourning lies a hollow space they cannot face. They live in a state of constant, low-level terror that their grandiose mask will slip and reveal the ordinary reality beneath. They do not hold power over you because they are strong. They control you because they are terrified of being exposed as unremarkable. Every action they take is a defensive strike to keep that mask firmly in place. They view your existence as a mirror, and they need that mirror to reflect only what they dictate. When you try to understand them, you are looking for a soul where there is only a structural void. They are not a person you can reach. They are a mechanism of survival. You are fighting a system built on the fear of being nothing at all. The system begins with a calculated flood. It starts with love bombing, a deliberate saturation of your brain with dopamine and oxytocin. They do not just enter your life. They occupy every available space, making you feel like the center of a new, singular universe. They lean in close, lowering their voice to share a secret, a piece of their past that feels raw and exclusive. It is a fabrication, a prop designed to manufacture false intimacy. But to you, it feels like a bridge being built. You feel chosen. You feel seen. Every notification on your screen triggers a spike in your pulse, a chemical reward for their presence. They are training your brain to crave them. They mirror your interests, your fears, and your hopes, creating a reflection that feels like a soulmate. You believe you have found a rare connection, but this is the trap. The more you share, the more you reveal, the more they store away to use as leverage later. By the time you realize the foundation is made of sand, the chemical dependency is already set. You are no longer choosing to stay. You are waiting for the next dose. The shift is not a sudden explosion, but a quiet, calculated erosion. The mask slips, and the warmth you relied on is replaced by a cold, steady denial. You bring up a conversation from the previous night, a specific promise made in the kitchen, but they look at you with blank, unblinking eyes. They state clearly that it never happened. You search your mind, replaying the scene, hearing the words again, feeling the weight of the moment, but they do not stop there. They pivot, turning the focus back onto your state of mind. They tell you that you are too sensitive, that you are inventing problems where none exist. You feel a sharp physical tension in your chest as you try to reconcile your memory with their absolute, unwavering version of reality. You check your phone for logs. You look for physical evidence of the event, but the doubt has already taken root. Each time they deny a fact you witnessed, your confidence in your own senses fractures. You begin to monitor your own thoughts before you speak, afraid that your perception is failing you. The world you inhabit becomes narrow and unstable. You stop trusting your eyes. You stop trusting your ears. You start waiting for them to tell you what is real. The silence becomes your new environment. They withdraw completely, offering nothing but cold indifference. You walk through your own home like a stranger, watching them move past you without a glance, without a word. The air feels thin. You find yourself pacing, checking your phone, replaying your recent actions to find the mistake. Your body reacts to the absence. Your heart rate spikes at every notification, only to drop when you realize it is not them. Then, without warning, the cycle turns. They reach out, a single text, a moment of warmth that feels like a reprieve. You do not question the cruelty of the silence. You only reach for the crumb of affection they have tossed your way. You are no longer in a relationship. You are a gambler at a rigged machine, pulling the lever again and again. You do not leave, because you are waiting for the next hit. The isolation begins with subtle suggestions. They frame your friends as judgmental and your family as a drain on your energy. They tell you that only they truly understand your potential. You stop answering calls. You decline invitations. You find yourself spending your weekends in the quiet, controlled space they have curated for you. The world outside shrinks until there is only the two of you. But they do not stop at isolation. They introduce a third party, a colleague or an acquaintance, to shift the dynamic. They praise this person in your presence, highlighting traits they claim you lack. They invite this outsider into your private sphere, forcing you to watch as they offer the warmth they currently withhold from you. You feel the sting of the comparison. You find yourself performing, trying to earn back the status you held before the outsider arrived. You compete for a nod, a smile, or a word of validation. Every interaction is a test, and every test is designed to make you feel replaceable. The only person left to judge your worth is the one who is actively dismantling it. You finally decide to speak. You gather your thoughts, preparing to confront the reality of the last few months. You approach them, intending to lay out the facts, but the words die in your throat before they are even fully formed. They do not argue. They do not defend. Instead, they pick up their phone and start making calls. They reach out to your mutual acquaintances, your colleagues, and your remaining connections. They speak in a tone of weary concern, describing your recent behavior as erratic, volatile, and detached from reality. They frame your attempts at confrontation as evidence of a breakdown. When you finally reach out to your friends to tell your side, the doors are already locked. They look at you with pity, nodding along to the narrative. You realize the trap has snapped shut. Every detail you try to explain is now interpreted as proof of your instability. You stand alone, your voice stripped of its credibility, while they walk away with the sympathy of the crowd. Stop trying to win arguments with someone who rewrites history for a living. The debate is a trap designed to keep you spinning in circles. Put the phone down, walk away from the screen. Take a pen and a blank sheet of paper. Start with the facts. Write down the date of the first incident. Write down exactly what was said, without interpretation or excuse. Move to the next event. List the time, the location, and the specific behavior you witnessed. Do not look for their intent. Do not try to justify their actions. Just record the raw data of your reality. As the list grows, the pattern emerges. You see the gaps in their stories. You see the repetition of the same tactics, week after week, month after month. The paper does not lie. The moment you see the timeline laid out in your own handwriting, the fog begins to lift. The person you were fighting is no longer a mystery. The power they held over your perception dissolves the second you choose to trust the evidence of your own eyes over their voice. You have the map of their system on the desk before you. Every manipulation, every shift in the mask, every cycle of cold and heat is now a static line on the page. You no longer wait for the text that never comes. You no longer rehearse apologies for conversations that were merely traps. The silence in the room is no longer heavy, it is clear. You realize that you have been waiting for their permission to leave, as if they held the key to your own front door. They never did. They only held the illusion of authority. You stand up. You walk to the door. You do not look back to see if they are watching, because their gaze no longer defines your worth. You step out into the air, and for the first time in months, the world feels solid under your feet. You are not running away from a person. You are walking toward your own reality. The dependency that once felt like a chain is now just a memory of a chemical reaction. You breathe in, steady and deep. You do not need to explain your departure. You do not need to justify your existence. You simply exist, independent and whole. The system has collapsed because you stopped feeding it your attention. You are the author of your own timeline now. You trust your own mind.